This video is sponsored by Carbide 3D, maker of the Shapeoko line of CNCs. Hey, I'm Matt. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of the easiest beginner woodworking projects I've seen to date. And these things are hot right now. They're selling good. Let me show you how to do it. This is called a word wall. I didn't know these things existed until a couple of weeks ago when I was asked to make these for the church. My wife says that these things are all the rage here lately, so I'll take her word on it. These things are super cheap to make as far as the wood goes. The expense is the lettering. The lettering can get a little expensive. But I've been seeing a lot of these being sold here lately, so this may be a good project for you to make good profit on. Let's make it. I'm gonna use the miter saw to cut these 4 foot long. I do like to trim the ends up of the fresh lumber that I get just to make sure those are square. I need 3 of these. I'm gonna use these 1x6s because I need to rip them down to size. Next thing I'm doing is ripping the 1x6s down to 2 3/4 inch wide strips because that's how wide we want our word wall ledge. After that, I raise the blade up about half the thickness of the board that we're gonna be cutting. That gives us a good groove for the letter to sit in. I'm gonna put a slight round over on the edges of this, not the backside that's going against the wall because we want it to remain flat. Now you notice when I cut it on the table saw that I put the cut side against the fence and I left that factory edge on the outside so that we still have a little bit of that rounding. But I'm gonna take this 1/8 inch round over bit and just go over each end, top and bottom, and then across the front and the bottom of the front. That way it just gives it a nice softer look. That way people don't cut their hands on it, things like that. Then I'm just gonna take 120 grit sandpaper and sand the whole thing. It shouldn't need any more than 120 grit. So how do you hang these on the wall? It's kind of a question at this point you may have. There's a ton of different ways to do it. You can install these as floating shelves. If you've ever seen any of those videos, you can go check them out. Just search DIY floating shelves. Most of the time there's a pin that you can attach to the wall with another board. Drill some matching holes for those pins to go in, and then these just slide onto those pins if you just want a floating look. I'm making these to use corbels underneath as supports, basically just shelf brackets, which you could also use shelf brackets if you wanted to just buy metal ones. But you can just cut some simple blocks like this that set flush with the back, and then I would just glue these onto the bottom, and then that way you can just screw one screw into the wall and plug that with a dowel or something like that. But since I have a CNC, I'm gonna use that to cut some more decorative corbels, or at least attempt to. I'm not really sure how well it's gonna work because these are so small. Let's see what happens. What I've done is cut a piece of the 1x6 about 28, 29 inches long. I'm gonna put that on the CNC and cut all the corbels out of this matching material. That way everything looks the same. First thing I gotta do though is just kind of sand it down a little bit and make sure everything's nice and smooth because it'll be much easier to sand now than it will when all these pieces are cut out and they're very tiny. I like to add double stick tape even though I'm using clamps just in case something comes loose and it won't fly around on me. Now CNC is absolutely not necessary to finish this project or even to make this project, but I did have one in the shop and I wanted to make something custom because it was going in the church. I wanted it to look nice. And that's where the Shapeoko 4 by Carbide 3D comes in. If you're just starting a woodworking business, adding a CNC gives you the ability to add customization to your projects like never before. Just like right here, I'm able to make custom corbels for this little project. What's great about Carbide 3D machines is they come with everything you need to get started with CNC. You'll get your machine, a hybrid work table, work holding, dust collection attachments, free software to program your machine, as well as training and support should you need it. All of this is designed to make your CNC experience successful. You can check out the link in the description below for more information to get you started on CNC so you can start making some cool custom projects for your shop. Carbide 3D makes it easy for you to get started even if you have no experience with using CNC. I had no idea what I was doing when I first got my Shapeoko CNC. But I've been able to create some very cool stuff with it. And so far, I think I've barely scratched the surface of what this machine can do. Check the link in the description below to find out more. After these come off the CNC, where the tabs are, I've got to clean those up. I'm gonna use my spindle sander to do that. Now I'm just using 120 grit to finish up the rest. All right, I got all these cut out now and they come out awesome. Here you see our facility manager, Ben. He's going to glue those corbels onto that board just using CA glue. He's gonna put 1 on each end and 2 in the center. Now he's gonna cut a board that fits exactly in the center of those 2, and that's what we're gonna use to mount to the wall. Then he's just gonna screw into the studs through that piece of wood that he glued on previously. From there, you're just gonna space those equally, make sure you hang them level. You don't want those looking crooked, and he's gonna hang all 3 exactly the same way. Once you get them put on there, you sit back and enjoy your work. Look at that, super easy project. Easy woodworking project. If you like this video and you want to see more beginner woodworking projects, click that box right there. Click in the box to get you the big old virtual fist bump. Also, another one of my favorite videos right there.